at one point in my OD career before the Enneagram, I was called the queen of team. And now I was like, I kind of love and have ambivalence about teams, but I think they're critical in the success of an organization, although I'm not naive about them because they can be the most productive or the most counterproductive way of working. But organizations have become overwhelmingly team-based, and that's increasing every year. And so what happens is most interactions people have occur in teams or with team members, whether it's virtual or whether it's email. But that's where most interactions happen, and the Enneagram can be incredible helping with that. The other is that team effectiveness really affects organizational results. Sometimes people say, can a non-functional team create great results? And the answer is, in the short run, maybe. In the medium and long run, no. And team effectiveness also really affects the quality of work life for people in organizations. So teams that are effective are better at problem solving. They're more creative. There you go. They coordinate better. They're more aligned. They have multiple perspectives they bring to bear. More flexible, faster, cover for each other, share more information. Now, the team applications of the Enneagram are amazing. So I always have a problem when one of my clients asks for a team application. It's like, yes, and which one? So, for example, just using the Enneagram and helping people get to know each other better and see different perspectives and working on their interactions can have a strong team-building effect. Working with conflict in teams, which is always going to happen if people have differences and you want to have some differences or nothing's happening, that can be important. The interactions, of course, really matter. You can take the Enneagram symbol and map out the team members' types if they know them and actually predict what their strengths as a team will be and what their sort of short-sighted areas will be and help them work on that. It's amazing. You can work on their roles and their communication based on the roles they play on the team. I'm not talking about structural roles, but I'm talking about how they focus on tasks and discussion and how they focus on processes. Team architectures, it just goes on and on. But for me, that's why I have the team second. It's leadership. Without good leadership and really effective, the organization is going to really struggle. But if you don't have really great teams and the Enneagram builds them really well, then that's the second most important area.
So, Ginger, it seems like you're also inferring that without the Enneagram, you can certainly work with these kinds of issues in developing organizations, but it sounds like with the Enneagram that people are more open and maybe less reactive to learning about the ways they're contributing or derailing the process. Is that true?
Well, I kind of would put it slightly differently. I do come from an organization development background, and professionally, I'm a behavioral scientist. So I'm very versed for many years in sort of organizational processes, different ways of working with teams to get them to be more effective, different ways of dealing with conflict to help resolve it. But all of these processes are kind of taking the person as generic. Like any person will benefit from going through this sort of team development process. Or any team will. But if you what I do is I integrate the Enneagram with these different processes that work and are known and tried and true that work and make teams better, and I integrate the type into it in terms of how, based on this, how does each type tend to function in terms of these different aspects of whatever model I'm using. Like I use the pinch-crunch model for conflict and team relationships and talking about how important it is to talk at the first pinch that you feel with someone because nobody meant to do that probably to kind of irritate you, but you're feeling it and you may avoid that person and not say something. So I help them understand how important that is. That's without the Enneagram to go so the pinches don't build into crunches or big conflict, which makes it harder to resolve. But every single person, based on their type, has very predictable pinches. So if people also understand that my irritation with someone is really also about me and my type, and what does that say about me and the development I can do so I don't get so easily pinched by this particular thing. I still may want to talk to this person. I may want to give them feedback on it, but I'm not coming at them blaming them for it. I'm also seeing my piece of reaction. I'm not coming at them with such, I call it heat or intensity, because if you come at another person like, oh, you did this and I don't like it, the person's going to feel that energy and kind of get a little defensive or back off it. So, but if you come in a way where you've done some of your own work and you've used it for your own development, it can make a magnificent difference.
Wonderful. Could you give us one example of a predictable pinch for one of the types?
Sure. Okay, I love this one because it's not what one might think. So take type 5, right? And they'll often say, trust. If I don't trust you, I'm not finding a person trustworthy, okay? And so that's good. But, that could also be for 6s, and it could be for 7s and for 8s and for 9s, every type. But what a 5 means is almost very precise. It means if I need to trust you, most 5s, I've learned this from 5s, they'll say, I need to trust you at work, because this is work and home is different. Trust you at work, I need to know that when you say you're going to deliver something to me of good quality and on time, you are going to do that. Now, they also might mean I decided to trust you with something that I consider personal, and you shared that with someone. That could also be something. So those two things tend to go into what 5s mean by trust. And then knowing their type can help them understand if they're not trusting somebody, what do those two pinches around trust say to them about their own type and some of the great development that they can do. Whereas a type 6 might have a whole different definition of trust, or an 8 for trust, if they had that as a pinch, might say, I trusted you to be truthful, and you weren't. Truthful about everything that I expect you to say. And you see, the 5 isn't really thinking about the truth. They like the truth, but it's really about the work delivery. And for the 8s, it's like, I got blindsided by you because I asked you a question and you didn't tell me the truth, the whole thing. That wasn't okay, and I don't trust you anymore. So these things, even the same word, means different things in terms of why it pinches somebody.
It must be so fascinating to be working with a company over time and see the changes that happen in the work culture when the people understand these things about each other.
Yeah, it's true. It makes a huge difference. And I'll just give you an example. I worked with a person, on no names, of course, at a company, and he doesn't work at that company anymore. And I did a lot of work with the Enneagram. And he liked the work so much that he's actually come to one of my Train the Trainer programs because he likes, I don't know if he's planning to teach it, but I think he actually is. So Peter O'Hanrahan and I are doing a program, public, which I don't do that many, on Build Better Relationships in the end of April. So this person has now gone to another company that's a name brand, but I don't want to say because I work under, but he's bringing 6 people from his company to this program, which is for new to the Enneagram and people that are more familiar with it, because he's like an ambassador. He's so energetic about it, and so it spreads like that. So it's not only within a company, but it spreads to all new companies because of the exposure and the fire that gets lit in certain people.